How you doing? All right? Hello, welcome. Come back in, close the doors. In fact, lock the doors. And wonderful. Did you have a good break? I imagine you had a wonderful break. Good. And did anyone work on their pitch using the incredible tips and advice that I gave you during that session? Now this is radical stuff. So first of all, you didn't raise your hand.
I did work on it, but
wow.
The internet's really slow.
It's the internet's fault. It's always the internet's fault. Okay, so the internet's slow, but well done. And do we have an extra? You said a half and another here. So we have literally quadrupled the number. That's doubling every stage. Did you notice that we went from what? Okay, good. I'm possibly more pleased about that than I should be, and I'm standing too close to the speaker, so it goes really weird. Or is that just me? It's just my ears. It's just me. Just lowering the monitor, please. Okay, good. Right, let's talk about delivering. Look at that. Look at those words there. Start well. That's a slightly facile thing to say, isn't it? Just start well. Doesn't matter. Just start well. So this really is a little bit of a trick. It's about the most important thing in a lot of communication, and that is creating a good first impression. Hello there. I've worked on that. I can do this all day. You don't need to see his identification. Rest easy, son. You've had a busy day. That's your uncle. Anyway, sorry, that's just a lot. So, love Atlee Guinness. Love Atlee Guinness as Obi-Wan. He does the mind control trick. These aren't the trends you're looking for. You can move away, but you go about your business. Right. That first thing. What do you think makes a great first impression when you start off? Yes, but let's qualify that. Yes, confidence is wonderful. We see a confident person, we think, good, we're okay, we're in for a good time. But what's the qualifying aspect of that? Yes, because we're British and we confuse the two, and we think if you're confident, you're being cocky. You're not. But the thing I was after, although that's absolutely right, is apparent confidence. Are you aware of the limbic system, the amygdala, and instinct, and all those bits? You're smiling knowingly, but is that, do you know about that? Fight or flight, exactly. So, your subconscious mind stores memories of everything you've experienced and accesses it as it needs to. That very first impression, it's literally just the first second of meeting someone. Let's say you were all waiting here for me, and I came in at this time now, and I was flustered, and let's say it was the first session, and I dropped all my stuff, and I came down, and I didn't look at you at all, and I was faffing around with this, clicking, get worried, talking to you, moaning pointlessly about stuff in the speaker. What would your first impression, what would your instinct tell you, just straight away?
Very nervous and disorganized.
Yes, and therefore? Oh, lots at the same time. Go, yes. Scattered, and therefore?
Incompetent.
Thank you. Yeah, all right, thank you, yes. That was don't know what you're talking about, incompetent. Yeah. And, if I saw someone come up and drop their papers, I would slip out the door. I wouldn't even let them speak. Sorry, that's just how it is. I'm ruthless. That first impression is so important. Very first second. What is an audience, or what are you thinking when a speaker gets up? Or imagine you're a VC and someone gets up to pitch. That very first second, what are you thinking?
Is he worth the time?
Sorry? What?
Is he worth the time?
Yeah. Is this going to be worth the time? If someone gets up to give a pitch or presentation, I'm just thinking, right, is this going to be any good? Please, is this going to be any good? And if they faff around, I think, no, pointless. But if they walk out, make eye contact with the audience, hello, big smile, make a joke, say something silly, hello, let's go. What would, I hope, your first impression be? What would your instinct tell you?
Give them another 10 seconds.
Exactly, that's right. Congratulations, Mr. Speaker, that's 10 seconds. We're counting down. You better do something else interesting within that 10 seconds. Exactly. They appear to know what they're talking about. They appear to be confident. Yeah, it should be okay. The thing is, people tend to look for evidence to back up that first impression. So if you've made a bad first impression and then you mess something up later on, People think, yeah, I knew it, told you, that's what they're like. But if you've done well, if they think, well, actually, you appear to be credible, you appear to be happy, you seem to know what you're talking about, you made a mistake, nah, that's all right, everyone makes mistakes. So that first impression is so important. And it's really kind of a trick. You know, it's fooling people. And here's the other thing. The confidence that you want to show can be apparent. It is normal to be nervous when you stand up in front of people and speak, even if it's a small group of people. Sometimes that's more intimidating. There's a trap that people fall into where they think, oh, well, I'm nervous. Good speakers don't get nervous. I must be bad at this. And there's a terrible trap to fall into. Nerves are part of the process. They are necessary. You should feel nervous because you don't know what's going to happen and you care about the result. That's logical. Did you see the Sherlock Holmes Christmas special? Yeah, right. What did he say about nerves? Fear. No, he said fear, specifically fear. Fear is just wisdom in the face of danger. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a great quote. He's right. You should feel nervous. So the thing is feeling nervous, but pulling it off, actually looking as if, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And you could say it. You could say, actually, I feel a bit nervous. I feel a bit nervous, haven't done this before, but here I go. And people like that. So nerves are absolutely part of it. As the other side of that instinct and your amygdala and your memories and decision-making and emotion, when you imagine yourself having a bad time doing something, you reinforce that idea. And I encounter a lot of people who go, oh, I'm rubbish at this, which is a horrible self-defeating mentality. However, your unconscious doesn't know the difference between real or imagined events. So you can reprogram it. And I swear this is true, otherwise I wouldn't tell you. If you visualize yourself having a great time giving a talk, you're confident, you're smiling, the audience loves you. You're not creating this fantasy that's then going to come true, but you're creating a new neural pathway and you're telling your unconscious, I like this, I'm good at this. Even the vague mantra before you go on of, I love this stuff, is enough. And that will persuade your unconscious. Then you might look slightly less nervous, even if you're terrified inside. It's the metaphor of being, or analogy rather, of being a swan. Are you familiar with this? You're graceful above the water, but underneath you're kicking like crazy, right? That's fine. Okay, so first impression, very important. What could you do then? And this is an actual question, not a rhetorical one. Although I appreciate in the PowerPoint, technically it probably is. Anyway, the point is, what could you do? What could you actually do in a pitch to make a great first impression? To grab their attention and have them sit up and take notice. Good, I did tell you that earlier on, but you're absolutely right. You've stated about you've proved that you were listening earlier on. That's right. But I'm thinking of something really attention-grabbing. What could you do, specifically you, with your project? Drive in, maybe. Just come in, little electric car. Flying taxi, I can't see any problems with that. I could easily get Bruce Willis to come in, or Mia Jokovic, have a cigarette that's got a... No, that's going too deep into the reference. But the point is, you could do something. So what could you do? Come on, have a thought. Anything goes.
Taxi driver costume.
Perfect, straight away. Easy to do. They're going to go, what is this about? I'm guessing it's something to do with taxis. Did I order a taxi? No, it's the guy who's pitching. Yes, exactly. Come on, you can do anything. Well, intro music, brilliant, yes. now that's easy to do, right? So if they hear the fanfare of any type of music, that's great. Good, what was the other, what did you say?
Sorry, controversial.
Something controversial, okay. Well,
You have to follow up with something good.
okay, I like that because what you've said there is insert brilliant idea here. What could you do? Do something brilliant and memorable. That's not specific enough. But, okay, but maybe you want to ruffle their feathers a bit.
What about like doing the typical TED Talk thing where you have like a big, very abstract, lofty topic you want to speak about, but you connect it to something very direct in your own life? I don't know how well that would work for a game, but...
Having good real-world examples and little stories of grand concepts is good, but again, it's slightly vague. I'd be happy to get something specifically for your game ideas, though. So straight away, I think that the costume thing works.
Flying on wires.
Again, that's great. I appreciate your vision, but possibly a little bit too much prep for a standard boardroom. However, you know, if you could, it could be slightly dicey as well. Rocket, but again, you're not taking this seriously. But fair play. Or you come in with some mad boots in and you go, oh, they don't work. You know, that would be quite funny.
Could you shout something?
Yeah, again, it's like swearing. It's like a cheap way of getting their attention, but it might work. Yeah, maybe you appear to be having an argument with each other. I don't know. Just anything that says this is the element of our game, but also...
Bag or something that you put on the desk for everyone and say, hello everyone, can you just have a look in your bag now? And there's like something in there that's related to your game. Like, so
That's good. Sounds like the worst children's party ever. But no, but I'm with you. It's okay. We're still friends.
I've had one
Go
before
on.
where it's like,
Yeah.
it's been actually a box you open up and there's a severed hand inside it.
That sounds good. I'm not sure about the severed hand, but there's something very interesting happening over here, and because I can do what I want, I can join in. What's happening? What are you talking about?
I was
We'll come back to the box of the severed hand. Excellent.
probably rudely sharing an anecdote that party bags was something I did as an internal pitch meeting at a big developer. We made party bags to give to execs.
Do you mean like the American favours? Are we talking a sort of that
Kind
thing,
of.
or
It was a bag and it had badges in it and postcards and stuff that we'd
No.
dispensed.
yeah? Well, you don't have to explain the cost. That's brilliant. Just to be absolutely clear, it was all paid for. But was that at the end? That sounds like a giveaway at the end, where you go, "Thank you very much for listening. Have some stuff," or was it? We haven't even started talking yet. Here's some cool stuff.
I'm not sure. I wasn't there when it was given out.
Brilliant. But the surprise thing, I love that. You know, if you're watching any kind of pitch or talk or whatever, and you can accurately predict what's going to happen next, right, it's boring, right? Surprises. That's why a story is so good. But exactly that. You go, here you go, here's a little box, here's a little present. And you go, what the hell is this? It's just something, you know, even just an envelope. Brilliant. Well done. I didn't anticipate any of that. Oh, there's more. Here we go.
Yeah. In this scenario, it's like at the company and it's in their meeting room. Arrive early, and because I'm actually very directly inspired by another game.
Yes.
Even if I don't have that much to show, I could actually just set that game up, and maybe because they're waiting for the meeting to get started, they would actually play it just to pass the time. They would get an idea of what it is I'm trying to achieve.
Surreptitious, but you mean in a way that they wouldn't necessarily know that it was you who'd done it, possibly. Or they do.
Or they do, and I'm just
Right.
basically let's spend this time waiting to actually do it.
You know what's really crafty about that is it would be such a great segue. So here's the thing with the beginning of the presentation is, let's say, what's the, maybe there's some other people who know more than I do. What's the typical VC scenario then? Are you sitting there and then people file in and present, or is it the other way around? What would happen? Do you see repeated people one after the other?
Usually you start with just the main round, right? The first screening is you just look at the email,
Yeah.
and then you decide if you want to live.
I mean, when it comes to the actual meeting, the physical thing, like who's in the room first, and then what happens?
Usually we invite our apprentices when they come in, and it's not like an official process. It's just usually more informal meeting, but of course if you're prepared, we can speak.
Okay.
And then usually we schedule about 1 hour.
Okay. So they're already in the room. It's their turf. Pretty terrifying. And
No, we are not.
yeah, yes you are. Yes you are. You've got a lot of funds at your disposal. You're frightening. And so you come in and there's that awkward social thing where you think, well, can I even talk to them yet? We haven't set up. So you imagine, and I've seen this a lot, where people come in and they'll be setting up the tech, and they don't look at the VCs talk. So they're setting up the tech, they're talking to each other, and there's a moment where they sort of appear and we go, hi, and then they start their talk. Surely, much better just to segue in really nicely with something, just walk in and just say hello. They're people, after all. Hello, how you doing? Just talk, just really gentle talk. If there's more than one of you, then someone else can be setting up the tech. But even if you were to talk about just stuff that's specifically not your game or even the industry, like this has happened, you know, you can talk about Brexit if you dare, just something, just I know. But controversial, there we go, something controversial. Well, we couldn't think of something. Say something controversial, we couldn't think of anything. If only there'd been some major event or vote of some sort. Anyway, talking about something like that while you're setting up, what impression does that give of you to them? You're comfortable, you're techno-savvy, even though you just learned how to do this last night. It's just, you're just talking. You're an expert. You know your stuff. You're having a chat. That's great. Shall I show you this thing now? Yeah, show it. Yeah, off we go. Whee! Lovely. Just natural segue. It's a conversation. You can have
don't necessarily have to do something dramatic. You could just be nice.
I've completely contradicted myself. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Either do something really amazing or just have a chat. Damn. Yeah, well, there's two different ways of doing it. I escaped from that. I'm a concept Houdini. Basically, you could do either, but I suppose the attention grabbing would probably be best. But if you can't set up something because it's their place, then maybe just easing in and seeing what's going on. Also, it might be risky. I mean, it's all very well me saying, yeah, do something controversial attention grabbing, and they go, get out. No funding for you. It depends. Look, maybe you've been to see them because I think, as you suggested before, you said, come and chat to us. This idea that people haven't had before. Maybe go and talk to the investors first. Say, hello, how you doing? What do you like? What's the kind of thing you like? And they said, we want something crazy. Then you've got that rapport already with them, we hope. So you could get away with something like that. Okay, so lots of great things you could do there. Excellent. Right. Engaging. Well, actually, that segues perfectly into this, which is having a conversation, having a chat. So many times, I've talked about people just listing stuff and you should use a story instead. If you can have a chat, it makes such a difference. Having a perfect script is one thing, but just having some key points that you're going to talk about, just delivered in a simple, everyday, vernacular, conversational style, what do you think the advantages of that are? That's a good point. We're not creating the pressure and the tension of, I have to do something impressive. Yes, so it puts them at ease. And also, it might relax you as well. And if they see that, then they'll relax and it feeds back. What else?
You show that it's not only smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
There's depth behind your pitch. It's not like, this is very cool, but when it's asking something.
Right, so it feels more natural. Yeah. What else? What are the other advantages? There are lots.
Well, that's the same thing, I guess.
No. No, you were first, but you had the rock glove things up, so I had to mention it.
Yeah, like if you approach a conversation, then it gives the impression that maybe you've said this many times, or it's not an exception. What's going on now? It's normality for you.
This is what you do. Another day at the office. This is my thing. I love it. I really know about it. I'm an expert. Wonderful. What else might it say? Yes. Yeah, we're just two people talking, and they'll remember that. Instead of the nervous person who's keen to impress, they'll think, actually, yeah, I liked them. They liked you. If people like you when you're speaking to them, you can get away with anything, trust me. Yes?
You can develop shared interest, for example, if you want to just say, I just got 2 Pokemons in your building over here.
Exactly. If you're doing the banter beforehand, it's a nice way of testing out what are they into. Do they like football? Are they interested in this? Will Brexit get you thrown out? Anything like that. Let's just never say it again. Just nice way of testing it, yeah. But it just flows. And here's the other thing. So there's some other brilliant advantages. It's simpler vocabulary, right? Everything you say is literally shorter and easier to understand. This is a very, very, very good thing. Typically when people sit down and write their piece, they write something flowery and grand. They write a speech. And it's great on the page or as a speech, but it's not the kind of thing that people say in everyday language. So here's my top tip to you. Say the words out loud. Just say them, and you'll find that your whole syntax will be simpler, more conversational. And so it goes into their brains much more easily, and we've said it's getting the idea into their minds as quickly and as easily as possible. But guess what? It's easier for you to remember as well. Hooray! So you've just got these key points you're going to talk about. You're an expert. You're going to talk about this thing that you know and love. Okay, so it is having a conversation. Right, I'm going to get some people up to speak because everyone really, really enjoys that. So would you care to come up and just introduce yourself to everyone, please? Look at that. There's no fear here. There's no fear. Just for a minute or so, just tell us about you.
Okay, me or what I do?
Both. Oh, sorry, we require amplification. Sorry. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I'm Birgit Neal. I'm with Side Effects in Toronto. Many of you may know our product, Houdini. I'm here at Develop.
Are you?
Yes, to help some of my customers pitch their story, because some of them develop great games and they need some funding.
And you're looking at me as if to finish.
I very much look forward to our conversation.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Lovely. Great. Thank you so much. Right. How did you feel delivering that?
Not very comfortable.
Interesting. So you were nervous, you didn't feel comfortable, and how did this lady come across? You can sit down. How did Judith come across? No. How did you come across? Genuinely? So, hang on, let's get a few. Go on. Unprepared? Okay, but that's fine. That's yeah, but we knew you were unprepared. That's fine, that's my fault. Yes, go on.
I just thought you came across really naturally. Just it's kind of charming.
More, come on. Say what you like.
Sounded like she was here for others.
There you go. So charming, here for others. Yes?
I just felt very friendly when you were smiling, even though you were kind of uncomfortable. I just felt what you were saying. You just came across really well.
Right, does that surprise you at all?
It surprises me. The friendly is not a surprise. But everything else, I was totally unprepared and shocked. And yeah.
You came across really well. And I had no idea. It was a big risk. I had no idea what was going to happen. You smiled. That's the key thing. So many people forget to smile. I see them pitch or present, and then afterwards they go, you could smile more, meaning you could smile. Because they forget. Wonderful. That was great. And because you had no time to prepare, what were you going off? What were you using?
Just my story and the present story right here. Right?
Yeah, that's it. So you're just going purely off instinct. You're just going to talk, just talk about you, what you know, and that was it. Lovely. You can get to that stage with your material where you know it so well, you're just going to talk about it. And it takes the pressure off. It's fantastic. But what you got there was likability. And that's that key thing. You can show, look, I'm finding this difficult, something's happened here, but anyway, here's my thing that I love. Like, oh, brilliant. There's so many times I've seen, have you ever seen someone in a suit like this? Hey, who wants to make money? I can't hear you, right? I see a lot of people like that on YouTube, and I think, well, actually, they're ticking the boxes. Like, they're smiling, there's eye contact, they're confident, they're projecting, and I hate them. Like, why? It's just slimy. Like, why do I hate them? Why does that not work? They're doing all the right things. It's utterly insincere. Sorry?
I don't actually care about you.
Oh, no, that's supposed to be a microphone. I was doing a mic. Sorry, I was too clever. I was really pleased with the black pen. I thought it was going to work really well. It's just horribly insincere. It's just not how ordinary people talk. It really just, everything about it says, you as an audience don't even have to be there because I'm brilliant and it's about me. And that's the horrible thing. I would much, even though they are slick and professional in theory, someone who looks nervous and says they're nervous, but who is genuine and really knows their subject, that's what I want to see. And that's how you make a connection with people. Okay, so the nerves thing. Right, I talked about tricking your own instinct. The main stage that I see people fall down on is preparation. Oh, that's right. It's remembering the end of the... Yeah. It's the prep. And whenever people have a bad pitch or presentation, I'll say to them afterwards, right, when did you write this? When did you rehearse? And they look at me as if, you can see they didn't rehearse. They barely wrote it. They went through it once the night before. They've blown it from that point of view because they didn't prep. You put in the work. You have, if you can prove and show that you have... Right, first things first, did you all hear that? That's the first, right, good, that's right. Because there's this ghost in this building. It's famously very haunted, the Metropole. Sorry?
Ghastly and
That, later, yeah, later, no, sorry, later. Right, good. Okay, stay on target. So, well, I'm going to find out who that is. Just bear with me a moment. Oh, right, it's the kitchen. Sorry. Okay. Some great treats for later on. Okay. Yeah, it's the prep. And this is, so the tricking your own instinct, right? If you put in the prep, that helps a lot, right? That reassures your subconscious that you know this stuff. But you can then tell yourself physically, I've done my prep, I know my stuff. The other speakers, the other pitchers might not have bothered doing that. They might not have bothered actually finding out about the people that they're pitching to. They might not have rehearsed it properly. Rehearsing properly with that conversational style, with just a few keywords, not perfect script, makes it really flow, makes it really fluid, until you get to that point where you are just going off instinct and you're just talking about that thing that you know about. When you do get really nervous, what happens? What do you physically experience? What can happen? Yeah, you tense up, shake, because your subconscious only knows. Sorry, layers of sweat. That's right. Right. Did you know where the dry mouth thing happens? So your subconscious thinks you're in physical danger. It only knows physical danger. So it thinks you're going to have to fight and kill some people or some animals. And so it wants to hold on to saliva because you're going to be, you're going to be running or fighting for hours on end. But you're not going to fight or kill or run away. Anyway, you're going to stand up in front of some people and talk. So it pumps you full of adrenaline, blood leaves your face, or you blush loads. And yeah, the dry mouth thing is just incredible. But that's just your subconscious. And you have to tell yourself, I'm not in physical danger. It's going to be okay. Yes, it's terrifying, but this is part of the process. So your heart rate increases, your breathing increases. So guess what? If you take a really deep breath and slow your breathing down, it slows your heart rate down and it fools your brain and you calm down. And it physically works. You're reverse engineering that part of your mind. There's a great talk by a lady called Amy Cuddy, a TED talk, where she talks about the power poses and how they got various people to get into power poses, which would be sitting down with your hands behind your head and hands on hips and all this stuff. They then get them to do little tasks where they're sort of gambling and taking risks. And all the people who've done the power poses, as opposed to the other people who've been sitting hunched up, take more risks. It's incredible. But it can be very effective. And I remember giving a talk, and I couldn't remember my script, and I didn't have any cues, but I just repeated that first line in my head, which was, "Hi, I'm John Torrens from Sony Cambridge Studio," because I knew once I got into that bit, because I'd rehearsed it enough, it would just flow. And it always worked, and it always flowed. Okay, where are we at? Oh, good. Now, brilliant. Okay. Adaptability. This may come as a surprise to you, but I didn't plan for the rumbling sound of trolleys in the kitchen I know, it's weird, isn't it? I didn't plan for that to happen, or for the whistling, or it just keeps happening, for any of these things. But I've got to go with it. There's nothing else I can do about it. Now, if I don't mention it, what does that become? If there's like a drilling noise is always a popular one. There always seems to be drilling. Somewhere, when people are giving a talk, there's drilling. It just happens. What's the problem if you don't mention it? It's the elephant in the room, right? You're going, oh, I hope it stops. Please make it stop. And they're all going, oh, please make it stop. And if you just acknowledge it, there we go. It's a rumbling sound. It's a ghost, whatever. Just says, yeah, I'm not happy with it, but I'm okay with it. Like, let's just move on. There's a drilling sound. Oh, they really want to come in here and listen to my talk. Anything tangential, anything that links vaguely to your talk will work. So acknowledging what's happening is really, really important. Now, what things can you imagine might go wrong? Tech failure, you say? Really? Yes. How many different... Well, there's a million different sorts of tech failure you can imagine. Just anything will go wrong. Any kinds of tech. I've seen it where you go into the boardroom of a company and no one can log in. They have to go and get the IT guy, and then we've got 15 minutes of faffing around, and it's just awkward. It's just embarrassing. Your tech can go wrong in all sorts of ways, PowerPoint will mess you up. It has special ways of doing it. If you don't embed the fonts, but you've got a really cool font, then it'll suddenly substitute it with something that you haven't used before. Makes you look like a moron. People go, did you even check the slides? Because the writing's going all over the place. Yes, I did. I embedded it. Then it gave an error when we loaded it up, but it was fine. I panicked. You need to have backup everything. You need to have a PDF version of your presentation, your slides. You need to print them out, right? You need anything you can have as a backup. If you've got cue cards that you write some of your stuff on, you can't really delete those. You can lose them, you can rip them up, but they tend not to fail. They don't need a power supply. It's having backups of absolutely every sort. If there are a group of you, it's worth knowing what the other people are going to say, what their roles are. Really, really important. But give me an example, actually, of some of the tech failures and things that you could do to mitigate them. What have you had happen, or what have you seen happen?
In a PowerPoint presentation, instead of embedding the video, you put an internet link that never opens. I've never seen anyone do that successfully.
That's right, yeah, I had a good one about someone who had internet links to all the images, and they went, oh, where have all my images gone? Yeah, they're not on this drive, it's in another country. Yeah. You need it on a stick. You need just everything. But at the very least, it's back to the Nick Fury thing. You need to be able to just go with nothing. You need to be able to just draw it. You know, if you had to, could you sketch out the ideas and show them on a piece of paper? Yes. Right, brilliant. That's all you need. If you encounter a tech problem, let's say the video fails or the PowerPoint fails, and then you go, right, that's it, I can't do anything. What do you think the result there is? What are your thoughts? No, you're laughing, but let's say it happened. What do you think? Yes?
They think you can't adapt to any situation that might arise.
I kind of queued that up, but yes, that's right. Yeah, so you can't. So they're inferring something much greater, which is this is how you deal with problems. This is how you'll deal with problems on the project. How dare they make that assumption? And yet, it's probably quite accurate. So, if you were to see that your tech has failed and then go, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm going to carry on with this, what do they think? You're a genius problem solver. You can handle anything. When the project gets into trouble halfway through, you will pivot, you will change, you will do something amazing. Yes. It's such a great way of showing that you can adapt, that you can get past problems. And actually, having proper adaptability is what you have to have if you're any kind of... What are you thinking?
I was just going to ask, are you suggesting that we invent the tech failure?
No, but you see, I know someone who said they were giving a talk to a big audience, and it seemed to be going okay, but they weren't really getting much back. They weren't quite sure how it was going down. And then their low battery warning came up. On the projector screen from their laptop, massive laugh. I went, you're an idiot. You know, it's going to go wrong. Brilliant. You know, it was suddenly they were human and normal. So yeah, you could do. I mean, you'd have to be very clever with it. I saw someone giving a talk, and one of their friends popped up on Skype. He said, "Oh, they're on," and it was like a famous person. I was like, "Awesome!" And they didn't know. They're just talking about, we've seen something that you haven't. So yeah, it's just having that humanity. But here's the thing. It goes wrong, and you go, that's fine, let's move on. It just says, this is my thing. Right. When people bring a presentational pitch or a presentational pitch, they'll go, I've got my presentation, it's on a memory stick. Like, no, you haven't. Like, it's not the PowerPoint. It's a collection of ideas. It's the place you want to take your audience to, which ultimately is, we love this, we want to invest money in it. Don't for a second think that that's everything and that you're just this little voice at the side pointing stuff. It's illustrating stuff for you. Iron Man's armor, right? Seems tangential, but it's not. Wonderful, right? Turns him into a demigod. He can fly. He's got missiles and lasers. He can save the world. What does the armor become when it fails? And it doesn't fail enough, in my opinion. A coffin, yeah, that's right. So he's worse off than someone without it. Oh, admittedly, if you're falling, you're going to die anyway. But he's trapped. That's PowerPoint, right? It's bells and whistles. It's wonderful. You can do loads of cool stuff. But if you rely solely on it, when it goes wrong, it will be your downfall. So watch out. So have backup plans. Okay, that's it. Right, so what I'd like to do now, we have a few minutes. We have 5 minutes. I want to talk about that, and I want to see what you think you've learned from both this section on delivery and messing with people's minds, and also in writing as well. But we can just do this section to begin with if you like. Go, you've got 5 minutes. Come at me with challenging questions. Yes?
I've got a question. So, being adaptive, right? Tech failures, a lot of it is under your influence. It's controllable most of the time, I think. Sometimes it's out of your influence. What if it's something completely out of your influence? Like the board that you're presenting to, one of them wound up on the wrong side of the bed and he's being a disruptive bastard.
Right.
A good way to deal with it. Is that like an elephant in the room, acknowledge it, oh, you clearly are going to back down,
No, you're in stand-up comedy territory there. That's the thing. So, in my opinion, if they become unreasonable, they're being like a child, right? You have to be the adult. The coolest thing you can do in any dispute or argument is keep your cool, because to anyone else, and possibly even that other person, you will look right even if you're not, right? Top tip there. If you see two people arguing, one of them's very calm, saying, well, I think we should do this, and the other person loses their temper, yeah, they're being an idiot. So it would be, and I remember this from working in a shop, you have people who are unreasonable, you've got to kill them with kindness. Just go, smile, keep going. Okay, I'm sorry you feel like that. Here's something else. And if they're being really unpleasant, I think the other people in the room, their colleagues, will probably tell them to shut up or to calm down. Or they might even realize you can kill them with kindness to the point where you're repeatedly nice to their, from their, because they want you to be aggressive back because they're having a bad time. They want some argy-bargy. That's a great colloquialism for you there. And you don't give it to them, and it takes everything out of them. So if you can do it, it's just sticking at it and going, okay, thank you, when they've called you and you go, here's the next slide. Because that's the way to do it, I think, anyway. But you've brought up something interesting there about everything within your control. That's why all the backup plans, I think, right, the tech could go wrong. Right, we're taking our own tech, okay, because I don't want to mess about. However, have they got a lead that will fit? Right, let's take the lead. So you walk in with a lot of stuff because you think, right, we've got this, but if that goes wrong, we've got this. So, yeah, you're bringing lots of equipment with you, but you know it's worth it. You know that sitting on the train going, we've got all 9 USB sticks. We're good. That is going to help. Yes?
I think you should ask to go in the room early and set it all up. How can they refuse you if you ask?
That's my... Yeah, that's okay. That's right. That's the key thing. If you can do that, and we've said before that you might not be able to do that, but yeah, for me, if you can get in there and rehearse beforehand, that's wonderful. If you can get to the room where you're going to be pitching an hour beforehand or a day or a week beforehand and get used to it, helps a hell of a lot. Get used to the tech, get used to logging in, find out how the projector works, whether it takes ages to fire up. Can you do clever stuff like switching the projector off with your mind? I don't know. Yeah, maybe that still works. I'm Professor X. That's how I do it. It's letter B. You press B in PowerPoint, blacks the screen out. It's very handy if you don't want people to be looking at the screen anymore. You get in there, learn the tech. Yeah, exactly. No, if you can do that, that's wonderful. Because, again, it's within the realm of your control. Right, the way I do it is I jump on that straight away, and I just go, hi, how you doing? Come in, grab it. Because it's acknowledging the elephant in the room immediately. It's having a bit of fun. It's kind of teasing, but it's also putting them at their ease, because they might, I've seen this where people come in and do this, because this makes you invisible when you walk into a room. It's, just sit down, it's fine. Or, I've seen people sitting there with a packet of crisps going, eat, eat, for a minute. I go, just open it. It's done, right? I'll have one, right? It's hi, come in. Grab a seat, and if they say, oh, sorry, it's fine. Yeah, we're just part way through. Amazing. Again, shows you're not flustered by it, even though you're thinking, I was just getting to the good bit. Grab a seat. Do you need to go to the loo? Let's, just take a few seconds to, get their coat, put them at their ease, and the other people are thinking, okay, you can handle anything.
But should you,
I would just keep going. You know, if you can sum it up, that would be good. If you say, well, I've just covered these few things, they know they can ask people afterwards, or you can give them the whole PowerPoint afterwards. You can say, yeah, I'm at this point, and it's fine, and now I'm going to go on to this bit. That's what I would do.
I've pitched to a room of execs before when half of them didn't look up from their telephones at any point.
Friendly, helpful, polite men, I imagine. Were there any ladies who did that as well?
No, they were all...
I hear, yeah, okay, so I've heard about this kind of experience. So they're not even engaged. So that's where, all right, so again, so my instinct, the way I would do it is I would be right up to them like this. I would literally be going, and the graphics are using this new engine where I would literally be, you know, almost touching them, just to show that I'm aware of what's going on. I hope they're aware of this, but I'm still going. That's why I like to wander. That's why I hate using the podium. There's no point. It liberates me to go wherever I want. As soon as you look like you're starting to get tetchy with them, or you say, "Oh, is this okay? Is this boring?" Then you've lost, because they might be doing it deliberately. They might be trying to mess with your mind. If they can't be bothered, and you do something brilliant, and one of their colleagues goes, "Oh, that's good," you know, then they're like, "Oh, I've missed something." So just stay on target, stay focused.
What if they miss some cultural reference point that you've made? You've referred to
So you refer to the fifth element, exactly, and they go, nothing. Then you've got to use another one. Then you'd have to accurately describe what that is. Futuristic movie with flying cars and Bruce Willis and Mia Jovovich, whatever her name is. So, which might not necessarily help. So it'd be, it's like Blade Runner. I'll go further back in time. Just see, and it's flying cars. That's it. Yeah, you need a reference you can sum up easily.
There's an etiquette or best practice for questions in that pitching scenario. Should you be asking them for questions throughout? Should you say, "I'll wait to the end"?
If someone leaps up with one, then yes.
Sorry, John, you have about 1 minute.
I have 1 minute. I'm a professional. I'll deal with this. Thank you. If they come up with a question and it's a really good one, if you can come back at them with that answer, that's really good. You could say, "I'm just coming to that." That's fine. You could say, "I'll take questions at the end." And you could say that right at the beginning. So if you've got any questions, I'll take them at the end so that they don't interrupt you. But I think being able to come back with something straight away is nice. And then it might even become more conversational as well. And someone else might chip in with something. You know, the best thing is when you have a really short pitch, and then it's a nice conversation. It's a to and fro, and it is lots of questions afterwards. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all we have time for. Thank you very much. Cheers. So the schedule now, the planned schedule is we have another 50